Howdy y'all, I'm a friend, I'm a neighbor, I'm a local blacksmith, and welcome back to my channel and to my third video. And in this video we're going to be building this desk right here. Welcome to my room, by the way. This is the first shot of my room that has been shown on video. So, in the last video I mentioned that I was going to be making a new housing for an old speaker, but when I opened up the speaker it was a little more complicated than I remember. I have to move some things around, change the design a bit. So we're gonna do that next video. In the meantime, I figured I would take care of a problem that I have where, well, not anymore. I had a limited amount of workspace here. I had one desk right here, and it didn't take up, both of these covered everything with that much, with just this much space. And I went out of my way to build this desk, and this is on wheels, it's completely mobile, and it's even large enough to fit directly over the existing desk, so it doesn't take up any more space. And I'm very pleased with it and its performance. It doubles my workspace, it gets me a lot more room to work, and now indoors I can work on more projects. Now, just move that over this way and that way, and keep that from rolling. Okay. And put that down a bit. Okay. Now, here is the current plan, and this is a little more complex than what I'm actually going to be doing. In this design, I have it set up so it has an adjustable height, and so that it has an extending reach and desk, so it can become even bigger, but I don't need that. I thought about it, it's unnecessary, so ignore this and those back and forth arrows. So all it really is going to be is a simple desk, which I've already made measurements for, so it can line up as best as it can with the existing one. Besides that, it's just going to be a very simple build, just a few planes, a few rectangles at angles. And one thing I'm going to mention is that there is going to be an offset where the leg is, I guess, leg, quote unquote leg. It's going to be one single leg that goes down and has a flat part at the bottom. It's going to be like the letter I, a capital I, on either side. Now, in the design of a table, normally you'd have that be down the center of the table itself. But instead, I'm actually going to have it offset a little bit to the side, because I want this to roll around and I want this bottom part to be able to fit underneath certain spaces so that it can fit more properly. Now, that's going to be very simple. I'm just offsetting it a few inches from the center, but it's going to be 8 inches away from the edge. So I'm going to go ahead and now I have some dimensions down here. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so this is something else relating to Lego and gears, but down here I have the dimensions in mind. I want it to be 60 inches wide, 22 inches deep, and I believe the plywood that I bought is 3/4 inches wide. So one thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make a supporting structure underneath. So when you make a table, you're going to run into a problem depending on the size of the table. You can usually get away with this not needing a supportive structure. Spider. Okay. When you're making a table, you have the problem, if it's going to be bigger than a few square feet, then you should add a supportive structure, because if you have just a flat plane, like so, with weight down the middle, this will eventually begin to bend and create a curve like this. That's called a bow when it goes down like that, or up like that. Now, to get around this problem, you make a supportive structure underneath with other long pieces of wood that go in the opposite direction of the grain. So if you have it this way, you need to add pieces of wood with the grain facing that way. As you can see the grain here? Yep. So have it face the other way, upward, perpendicular to this grain, to keep it straight and flat. Now, that's going to be quick and easy. This is going to be a simple video, so let me get to drawing out the design I have in mind on the plywood and then start some cutting. Just a quick tidbit before I get going. Now, Because I need to make a structure underneath to support it, I can get rid of these edges that don't look as nice by cutting those off first. So I'm going to make a 1-inch border around the whole thing and then make my dimensions on the table itself inside of that. So let me do that. I have everything marked out. It doesn't look like much, but this took a while to actually mark out. But so you guys can see everything that's here. This big piece is the tabletop itself, 2-inch border on either side, because the inside, everything inside of that is the actual table I already have, and I want this to fit over that. So I cannot go beyond this line, otherwise it won't fit. With these two are the legs, and they're, how long were they? These two are the legs, and they're 27 and 7/8 inches long by 6 inches wide, and I marked out the center line, and you'll see why. These pieces are the supports that are going to be on the bottom and the top. Now, one second. These are 21 inches long, and it's 4 different pieces right here. You have the supports on the top, and these are 3.5 inches wide by 21 inches long, and I put a mark 1/2 inch from the edge on both sides and made a little triangle and then reflected that across over here, so those match up. These are going to be the supports for the legs, and these are a lot slimmer because I still need this to fit underneath certain things. So these are 1 3/4 wide, both of them, by 21 inches, and I have a 3/4 from the edge, from one end and one end, and one end and one end, and then I marked out that same triangle. Now, this center line is where the offset is going to be on both, on the table and on the feet. And from there, I went 6 inches apart because that's how wide the legs are, and then that's where that is where these lines meet up, and that offset. So it's going to be 8 from the edge, 8 from the edge this way here, and that's this line, then 3 either side, 6 inches wide, equal to the legs. And then that's where these lines line up. There you go. And then I have the same thing over here. This is going to be the actual feet. These feet supports are going to go here, and these are 22 inches long by, where is it? By 3.5 wide this way. And same thing, I have the offset marked and the 6 inches wide. And then you have on either edge 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, and then a line connecting those two. Right there, right here, right there. And the same thing in the back, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, line, 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 line. Okay, so now that all that is all marked out, I need to go ahead and, oh, right, I didn't mention. So I have the offset lined up, and these are 3.5 wide, and I have a center line marked with 2 inches, from that center line. So 1 inch this way, 1 inch that way, because that is large enough for these wheels to fit there and here, right there. That way they line up with the center. There we go. Yeah, so that's gonna look like that. So now that that is done, the first thing I need to do is I need to cut off this large excess piece with this line, and I'm going to use the hand saw for that, the power saw. I took this ruler, which I already know is perfectly straight, and marked it a little bit off from the edge, and I gave myself a little gap to work with because the blade lines up off of that little mark right there. So I accounted for that, so that way when you start cutting, as long as you follow the line, you'll be perfectly straight, and you won't get rid of anything you won't mean to. So that's a good way to do it, kind of like a rail saw. I should mention that when I made all my measurements, I gave everything a 1/4 inch buffer, so to account for the thickness of the blade. So just keep that in mind. So I've gone ahead and cut out all the long pieces. Now I need to true up the edges to make sure those are square. Then the weird angles that I have left over, I'm going to cut those out on the bandsaw. I'm going to use the same process. I'm going to keep this clamped together, and I'm going to start cutting off these bits and pieces here that I've marked out. So let me take you guys to the bandsaw so we can do that. Okay, those are all sanded down and they match up. So now I need to make the support structure that's going to go on the bottom for the table itself. Yeah, what's best? 4 strips? I'd say 4 strips is pretty good. Basic sanding and putting the joints together and putting the wheels, I am left with this nice table, and I've already been using it for a few days. It's really nice. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. The screws actually don't get in the way as much as you'd think. They're distant enough that they don't get in the way when I'm trying to write or build something. So it's great. I'm very pleased with this, and I look forward to making more things with this. And most likely, you guys are going to be getting more shots here in my room, probably in the perspective that you're at right now. That way I can work on this table and go to this table for whatever I need, or arrange this in any way I need to, and I'm very pleased with it. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a great day. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.